Evil Robot Take 1! Greetings, I'm Chappers.
And I'm the captain.
We're at Andertons.
We certainly are.
And we have Evil Robot Amplification.
Finally, these bad boys have made it across the Atlantic and are now available to buy from Andertons Music Company. So, should we tell them a bit about how Evil Robot came about?
Can do, we can just play.
We can just play. I'll tell you about Evil Robot. You've probably never heard of this guy. I think he's had about 3 hits on YouTube or something like that. But
we found him somewhere, didn't we?
Yeah, we found him somewhere under, random. But a guy called Phil X. Anyway, Phil has done a load of videos for a super cool company in America called Fretted Americana, who are an excellent sort of vintage and rare guitar dealer. And a lot of his early videos were using an amplifier from way back when, I think from the 50s, called a Tonemaster Troubadour 214.
He dug up some vintage accordion amplifier and went, hey man, this might sound good with a guitar.
Yeah. And they had so many offers, literally hundreds of offers from guitarists all around the world to buy that Tonemaster Troubadour 214. They thought, you know what, we should just try and make like a modern version of a Tonemaster Troubadour. So they teamed up with a guy called John Casher in America, very well respected boutique amp builder out there, took the Troubadour, kind of added some, what do you call it, +1'd it?
They +1'd it a great deal.
But have kept essentially the kind of the basic sound. So we're going to play a bit. There are 2 versions. There's a combo, 112 combo, and a head.
There's also 2 tiers of level within the brand.
There will be, yes.
There will be.
There will be. There is. These are the American handmade sort of, point-to-point hand-wired jobs. They come with a typical American boutique kind of price tag. Maybe not as crazy priced as some of the amps I've seen out there, but they're still going to cost you a pretty penny. But there is coming later this year, sort of maybe late spring, early summer, a sort of a junior version of this. So go to the Andertons website; it'll tell you more there.
But you have to, because Andertons are the exclusive UK dealer.
We are
for the Evil Robot amplifier, so you can't go anywhere else.
But we're going to concentrate on the American ones today. Let's play.
Let's start with some clean tones, shall we? As you can probably tell, I'm using a Lester Paul here.
Really? They're quite new and radical, aren't they?
Yeah, this guy, Les, never really heard of him, but he makes an amazing guitar.
It's fantastic.
And actually, this is a very good example of a Les Paul. For some reason, some of them, I don't know, when you play them, sometimes they don't sort of feel all that, and sometimes they feel amazing, and this is a really good one. So we're using a really nice Les Paul into my head and cab. There's a big difference between the head and cab and the combo, actually. We were sort of just talking about the difference in volume and the way it projects as well. There's a huge difference in sound to the side as to the front, and you're going to say, well, that's obvious, but there really is a huge difference in sound from the side to the front. I think because this is Baltic birch.
Baltic birch.
It's sort of taking the sound and like firing it.
And it has got a big, thick baffle, and the speakers are mounted behind the baffle, which does tend to make the cabinet and the combo quite directional.
Very directional.
We were sitting here kind of getting a tone and thinking, wow, that sounds amazing, and then putting your head kind of in front of the speaker or sitting further away and realising it sounds very different. Yeah. So we've kind of tried to get some sounds that'll be good through the mics.
But we discovered, basically, Stick, our sound engineer for the day, discovered that the combo was kind of louder at the front, although in the room the head and cab sounded louder, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
It's got a super, super dark, warm, oaky sound to it.
But I'd say it's more birchy than oaky.
More birchy than oaky.
Yeah.
But it fills the room with low end.
It fills the room with low end.
It fills the room with low end. Like you've never seen before, or even heard. And comes equipped with things like tremolo and, loudness, which is a super classic.
Yeah, we don't have volume, we just have loudness.
Which are an amazing Japanese rock band, if anyone out there from Loudness.
So let's hear it. But again, it's clean and vintagey before we put the drive pedal in. So
Yeah.
So we'll do some sweep overs so that you can kind of see the control panels on these amplifiers. They're kind of tucked away behind here, so it's cool for a guitar player, if you're sitting where I am, to dial in your tones.
It's also nice that they're angled and not flat, so you don't get the dust build up in all the components and everything.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. So we got 4 inputs, basically a slightly different voice, channel A to channel B. Channel B is a little darker, more perhaps softer sounding, and each channel has a high and a low gain input depending on how sort of edgy and driven you want the tone to be.
Well, you're plugged into the high?
I'm plugged into the brighter of the 2 channels, channel A, and the high setting. What are you in?
Well, I'm dimed because we kind of thought, why not just try something different? And it kind of sounds fatter, if you can imagine, diming it. So I'm plugged
you've jumped
in.
it. Yeah,
I've jumped it, yeah. So I'm plugged into the low on the bright side. I'm plugged into the low on the bright side, but I've dimed it from the high on the bright side to the low on the
So that's kind of
side.
like an old Marshall Super Lead sort of trick of jumping the 2 channels. You could even use an A-B box if you wanted to plug into both channels and actually switch between each channel because you've got separate volumes for each. Next thing that we've got is a little 3-way control that goes from mellow to normal to bright. Do you want me to? Shall I just quickly show
go for it.
Because that's kind of cool and funky. So we got this is the mellow tone through the 112. So you can hear really dark, kind of almost like I've dialed all the tone off my guitar. Normal, which is where I'm going to be using it for most of the demo. And bright, so I guess bright would probably work well with a Les Paul, maybe less so with a
radical
Strat.
difference, isn't it, in tone?
Yeah. You'll notice I'm not getting any reverb out of mine. The amps don't come with reverb, as the original one didn't, the Troubadour didn't.
Accordions don't need reverb.
So we have stuck a reverb pedal on Rob's amplifier. There's no effects loop, so it's just going through the front end. We got a little a Boss pedal that emulates
Fender 63,
the Fender 63.
Which is what Phil X uses, I believe.
It's important if you're going to use a reverb pedal, find one with a mix control on it, and make sure you have the mix dialed pretty low, because otherwise it's going to overload. You're going to be way too saturated in terms of reverb on the sound.
The way that I would use these amplifiers is you get yourself your awesome set of pedals, the super high-end boutique stuff that you really love, that you've collected your entire life through.
Yeah.
And you get your signature sound with the bedrock, awesome goodness of clean tone palette that is the Evil Robot. So Lee and I kind of went shopping in Lee's store and chose our 2 favourite distortion pedals. So Lee, what did you choose?
I picked the Love Pedal Eternity Fuse because it's a slightly more traditional, more open sounding kind of gain sound rather than a sort of, you know, there's not you know, it's not a real balls to the wall kind of drive pedal, unlike the one Chappers chose.
I went for the Wampler Pinnacle, which is to date the best distortion overdrive I've tried.
Cool. You can, if you want to, gun the amplifiers flat out. You can get a bit of kind of that sort of very vintage push sort of drive sound from the amp. And then, you know, if you watch the Phil X videos, he tends to do that and then uses his Digitech Bad Monkey to kind of drive it even harder.
You can kind of get Zeppelin with the amplifier, but it is at volume.
But we've decided just to try and keep the amps in their clean zone and then use a pedal for all the drive.
Yeah.
So,
well, should we show them the difference in distorted sounds then?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you go first with
Okay, so this is my, I'm using an HSS Fender Strat here, so which I'll tell you a little bit more about in another video we're doing today. So here's the kind of humbuckered. So that's my kind of nice vintagey kind of driven sound. I could probably get away with a bit more volume, although Stick tells me I can't. But
what you want.
No, so that sounds kind of cool. Here's Chappers.
Yeah, I'm not taking any prisoners with mine. That's amazing.
And these things are, again, on the spec, these are kind of an 18 watt Class A output amplifier, so you know, you wouldn't think it would be that loud, but it's loud.
So it's 18 watts or it's 30 watts.
Yes.
And let me just, what I'll do is I'll do kind of some gainy lead stuff with the 18 watt setting, so you just
It doesn't
push.
really, it's not massively different.
It just kind of goes fatter or thinner.
Yeah.
So here's like skinny setting, which is, you know, I'll show you some clean first, I suppose. I probably should do.
Yeah.
That's 18. This is 30. So here's 18 with the gain. I really like that.
Yeah.
And this is 30 with the...
You can it's exactly the same as any amplifier that has a switchable output stage. You tend to find that if you give the amplifier a bit more power, it tends to have a bit more bass, a slightly more open.
It's like it has a big meal. It goes.
Whereas in the lower powered mode, it sounds tighter and more compressed and and so it's a choice, whichever sound you sort of prefer.
Also comes with Trem LO.
Trem LO, actually, strictly speaking, it's Vibrato.
Oh, it's Vibrato.
Yes.
All right. What's the difference? Maybe if you know the difference, you could post in the comment section below.
Actually,
I might cut that bit out of the video.
let's say someone else. I've heard women prefer vibrato. I can't speak now. So ask me again, what's the difference between vibrato and tremolo?
Lee, what's the difference between vibrato and tremolo?
Well, I've heard that most women like a good vibrato, whereas I'm not so sure with a tremolo that it has the same effect.
Oh. Now, I understand they used to make the Evil Robot without an input.
and this is a vibrato off of. This is modelled on the vibrato that was on the old Tonemaster Troubadour. It's a great sounding vibrato, but even on its lowest speed, it doesn't go that slow, which is a comment that Rob was making earlier on.
I would have preferred it slower and deeper.
Yeah, but it's very cool and very authentic. So check it out. Where have you got your vibrato settings on there?
Well, what I've got is the intensity, which is like the depth,
Yeah.
just over halfway, and then I've got the speed off.
These come loaded with custom-made speakers that are made specifically for the Evil Robot amplifiers.
Well, I suppose we should just say that they are sort of, you couldn't really get more high-end. Everything is hand-wired, they're all valve, they're made of wood, they're very well made as well, they're super
Except for the bits made of metal, and they're made of metal.
They're made of metal wood,
yeah.
And they're really heavy, they're solidly made. This is
I didn't think they were that heavy, actually.
Well,
when you lift
you're
them.
a lot stronger than me, Lee.
Wow.
But they're super solid made. I mean, the weave, they look really, really good.
You know what you have got in yours, which obviously wasn't on the original Troubadour, but it's a cool thing for studio guys. You have a fan. I don't know if you've noticed that on the back of yours.
Oh yeah,
you got a fan. I don't know if I've got one on the. I don't think I get one on the combo, but on the head you get a fan.
That's amazing.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, you just get two loudnesses and you get a tone. And what more? I mean, what more do you need?
Let me show you kind of like what the difference the tone control kind of makes, because it's not again. It has it affects gain as well as tone, so it's not just like an
There's
EQ
a valve
control.
in the situation.
Tone all the way off. And that's tone all the way on.
So it's
you can
adding gain. Should we gun this and get all the gain we can with a Les Paul, just to show them the kind of gain you can get?
What, just in case any big Metallica fans fancy owning an Evil Robot?
No, just like a sort of hot rock blues kind of
No,
thing.
I agree, because that's Phil X's kind of bag, isn't it? He's a rock blues kind of guy.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So what we've done is we've just put everything full, and it's
So the tone all the way up, volume all the way up, both volumes all the way up?
Yeah, everything.
Jumped as well?
Jumped.
We turned the reverb off because it was getting a bit washy with this much gain on it, so let's go.
Really, really, really nice. I mean,
is.
It's loud. How loud is it back there?
It's stupid loud.
Yeah.
You can tell when all the fixtures and fittings in the room start to vibrate. We're
I
loud.
can tell that it's really loud because they're kind of wincing in the background, but here it's kind of quite reasonable because this is like a protective cladding. It's like sort of it's like a bomb shelter or something, you know.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds really, really good. Recorded apparently, and I've got to say, it's full volume, 30 watts, and it's pretty quiet.
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it?
Yeah. What's full volume 30 watts like with a Pinnacle?
So when you were doing that gain thing in the segment before, you didn't have the pinnacle.
No, that was just the amplifier.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was a lot.
And that
more
actually
gain.
sounds pretty good with it gunned and the pinnacle.
Yeah.
You
Awesome.
know, Stick doesn't like that, but I thought that sounded good.
It's just too much, was it? Yeah, just too much. So I've gunned mine now. I've jumped the 2 channels together, basically driving everything flat out. Without the distortion pedal at the moment though, but I'll whack that in at some point just for extra love.
You've dimed it as well, haven't you?
I have. I've jumped the 2 channels. I'm on the normal setting. Actually, again, listen how quiet that is.
Yeah, it's really good.
If that's noiseless pickups on this, I don't know, but that's pretty quiet, isn't it?
You know what's funny is just poking your head around a corner. You get like a blast. You get a blast of volume. Out of interest, could you unjump it and do the same thing but use a Les Paul?
Yeah. Okay, so I've switched over to the Les Paul, still gunning everything. This is without the pedal. With the pedal. Playing accordion. On a Les Paul and an evil robot.
Well, I'm probably going to subtitle what Lee said so you can remember what you... Yeah, let me try the strat through this then, and I'm going to gun it again.
Okay.
That's amazing. That's a proper guitar sound right there.
Isn't it so weird how they just built these things in the 50s, not really knowing what they were doing? Strats, Les Pauls,
I think they knew what they were doing.
Troubadours. Do you
I think
so?
they were seers and overmancers, and they could divine the future through guts of sheep.
Right.
I can take you to Japan now. It's not often that Lee and I get the chance to play amazing boutique amplification from America.
No, he's absolutely right, and certainly not often that we get tones that are quite so
Satisfactory in an
Yes.
aural way. And
That's my new word for this tone.
yeah. It's been
Sample
some reviews are easier than others. Sometimes you've got to kind of work a little bit to find that special tone that works for you. And sometimes you just plug the guitar into the amplifier and the tone just comes forth. And that was the case today.
So you can find out plenty more about these amplifiers by going to the Andertons website. If you think that the amps that we're trying now are a little bit too rich for your kind of pocket, don't panic, because as I said, there's a sort of a C30 version of this on its way pretty soon as well, which I'm sure will be super cool, and we'll demo that as soon as we get it.
Well, I've been Chappers.
And I've been the captain.
Let's do a salute simultaneously.
3, 2.
We'll go up, down. Ready? 1, 2, 3.